Evening all, welcome back to Dust, and today we're doing a bit of tanking and well, it's a bit of bomb trucking as well. So we're going to do a kind of kind of relative smorgasbord, as I always say, of different things. This is just Del and I tanking in a very sedate kind of way. And I think today really we're just going to carry on our kind of topic of CCP and what's going on and bloody blue. We're not going to be negative today though. We're going to be very, very positive towards CCP because I think it's quite cool when you look at what is going on at the moment with regards to their project. So, Legion, for example, let's talk a little about Legione. Legionella is looking to be quite a good I guess extension of the Dust 514 IP. Let me just validate that. What they did with Dust when they first made it, and those of you who are around at beta will remember this, they made a lot of promises. I don't think they did too badly on that, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say they didn't keep them. I think they did a good job actually. I think they delivered the game that they kind of said they would, and it was just minus a number of features that I think would have opened it up, and it was really the sandbox nature of it. And let me kind of share with you what I think they desired originally with this game was to create a game that would take on Battlefield and Call of Duty. That was actually their stated desire, and I think what they've done is they kind of did that because they created a round-based game where you have quite a high degree of fitting capability and weapons are quite interesting and varied, etc. And they did quite a good job of that. I think that was actually definitely one of their success points. But the problem was when you compare Dust in its mechanics only to Call of Duty and Battlefield 4, I think Dust is actually the better product. I know that's going to cause a bit of rage to some people, but to me, Dust is actually a far superior product to PlanetSide. It's a far superior product to Battlefield 4 and Call of Duty in just the potential of its mechanics. So you think about the infinite fitting capability of the tanks and the suits. You don't get that degree of flexibility in those games. They can't even handle it. They have pretty much 5 fits. You run one of them with minor variances. Where in this, there's millions, billions of different combinations and fits that make this game incredibly bespoke, and that's why I think that was a real key unique selling point of this game. Where it kind of ballsed up on was maybe not the best graphics engine. That matters to a lot of people, and I think when they went from Chromosome to Uprising and this new graphics engine came in, it certainly looks good, but it's still aged. It's still not quite what you would probably say is it's not comparable to the next generation games currently, and that's because CCP they don't have the same resources that those companies have. So I think that's worth mentioning because PlanetSide 2 was actually mechanically far inferior to this game, but it looked better because of obviously its mechanics and its engine and the fact that it was on the PC. That shouldn't be underestimated, by the way. And I think really when you kind of break it down, the game itself is actually very good. To look at this tank battle here, I mean, if you compare this to a tank battle in maybe Battlefield 4 or PlanetSide, it's better than PlanetSide, that's for damn sure. But it's also, I would say, it's quite fun because the control of modules is quite critical. I had the far inferior tank there, but I won. Because I was being helped by another dude. But either way, if I'd have won that fight fairly, it would have been because of maybe the fit or maybe the tactics I used or whatever it may be. So that to me makes the thing quite interesting. Now Titanfall started to do this. I think somebody in Titanfall played Dust because you started to see the same beginnings of the modification capability in Titanfall that you have in Dust. Now it wasn't modular fittings, it was more special abilities, but you started to see it move away from here's a scout, here's a heavy machine gunner, here's a rocket man, here's a medic, here's a frontline dude. I mean, that I hate those. I think they're boring as hell. Whereas Dust, you could have a frontline dude, medic, with an AV gun, so it made it really quite cool, I think, or an AV fit rather. So I think this is something that I think Dust should really be celebrated upon. If anything, I think you could break it down to the graphics engine wasn't great. The marketing was almost non-existent. Now, I don't know why this was. It's kind of baffling to me that if you've got a product and you don't kind of get out there and sell it, Why don't you do that? Now, let me just share something with you from the channel. So we kind of get a little bit of this. We get partnership offers probably about 20 a week now. Because there's thousands of partner, MCNs they're called managed content networks, basically. And we get probably about 20 a week at the moment because we get a lot of views. For the subs we have, we get an awful lot of views every month because we do regular content, etc. and all that. And these MCNs think we're insane because we won't actually sign up to any of them. And this is because we do this as a hobby. We're not doing this for money. We're doing this because we want to have some fun. Yes, we do adverts. And by watching the advert at the start of the video, you actually support the channel, by the way. But, it's up to you if you want to actually do that. And it's up to you if you want to watch the video entirely. I don't want to force this on you. To me, this is a pastime I do because I've always enjoyed this kind of thing. I've always played games and I've always done videos. So to me, this is just, part of that. But because we don't advertise and we don't do an MCN, because we don't do all these things, we are as we are. We are a relatively small channel, but we're also relatively, we're able to control exactly what we do. And I think I kind of like that. To me, that's a preferential place to be. But what's interesting, I think, is Dust in that kind of context was never developed and pushed forward in that kind of context. So I think they advertised like with the cage fighting community. So Gunnar Nielsen, who's obviously a very successful cage fighter, he wore Dust 514 in his shorts, on his ass actually. But that was a little ploy. That was good. But to me, that kind of smacked of, he probably agreed to do that for free. They probably gave him a PS3 in the game, and he said, all right, I'll do that. He did that because he's Icelandic. You know what I mean? I don't actually feel that they actually put their hand in their pockets and spent money there. I don't remember seeing promos for this game ever. Whereas I remember seeing EVE Online advertised on Sci-Fi Network. And the adverts were actually quite good. It made me want to play it, and I was playing it at the time, so it was actually quite cool. But I think this is something that I really would like to see, just maybe an answer to from CCP. My biggest opinion of it was, and post in the comments if you agree with this, they couldn't advertise the game because it was on Tranquility, and if all of a sudden 1 million people decided that they wanted to play this game, that would actually drop the whole game and therefore CCP would be sunk. Is that true? I don't know. It feels like it was, because as soon as you advertise, let's say they had like a 10-second advert at, I don't know, something important like Friday or Saturday night TV between some kind of sci-fi shooter kind of film, they would have probably milked a lot of subs from that. They would have got a lot of people try the game because, again, think about it, it's free. Massive tick point there. Anybody's going to try a free game. I mean, this is the kind of thing I can't work out. If it was a free game and that was such a key thing to them, the advertisement of a free product, everybody's going to try a free product. If you say to somebody, right, there's a free game here, go help yourself, people will fall over themselves to do that. It almost, again, it does feel as if they kind of just made the decision that, no, we'll advertise it when it's ready. I got the impression they kind of said that. Let's do it when it's ready. And I think we're still waiting for that day. And it's already too late. I think they're now going to pretty much look at Legion really being the next step here. I mean, I don't know. Post in the comments. What do you think? I have this opinion that they've kind of never really advertised, because when they launched the game, they didn't really advertise then either. And I think just generally, they've never really needed to advertise, because I think they've always been in this this growth or rather development phase. Let's just finish the product, then we'll advertise. And to be honest, that was probably the bad way to be. But think about it. They've got forums. They had the infrastructure to handle it. They had the capability to do that, do it all. And it's almost as if they just never bothered. So there we go. I'd love to know from Mr. David Reed, CMO of CCP, what the hell happened here? Why didn't you advertise it? Or did you? And we just missed it. Was it advertised maybe in North America? Maybe was it advertised in locales that maybe we didn't see it? But I think either way, I still think that they never really broke the 9,000 limit, which when you compare it to a game like Space Engineers, where only 7,000 people play that at a peak every night, this game was successful. It was, absolutely it was. And I think even now we have to kind of adjust the numbers. So I think currently you have about 2,500 people playing this game at peak every night, taking into account all those goddamn bots that are just making, stripping ISK from new accounts. I think the reality is there's probably about 2.5, maybe 2.5. And what that then means is that you then have still a relatively well subscribed to product. I think that is still more than some of the PlanetSide 2 servers. So that ain't bad. But yet it still feels as if there's a collective gloom and doom about this game. It feels because of what they did at FanFest. I really wish they'd have just kept their mouth shut at FanFest and just not said anything all the way up until, hey guys, we've just released a beta. It's called Legion. We're trying it out on the PC. Give it a go. And then you wouldn't have had this mass exodus. I mean, it was like Gerald Ratner standing up to the audience at a huge gala and just saying the gold that his company makes is a load of old crap. And it just almost destroyed. It pretty much did destroy his company. And I just get the impression it's a bit like that, standing up in front of a load of dudes who were PlayStation players and then saying we're doing a game for the PC and that's going to be what we do now, was kind of stupid. And only now with hindsight being 2020, only now when I look back at it, do I kind of realise how, I guess, maybe ill-advised it maybe was. I don't know. I mean, the CPM surely advised them on this. CPM 0 surely told them they shouldn't have done this, right? Please tell me they did, because if they didn't, they're even more negligent than I think maybe we gave them the acclaim that they were. And I think that could be quite, terrible to hear if that was actually something that they endorsed. But there we go. Oh well, I don't know what more to say really. Post in the comments, tell me if you think you've seen adverts for this game, and let's have a look and see what people think they saw. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.